Thank you so much to Commander Seetoo and Assistant Chief Smith for being here with me today. I talk about both of you as the dynamic duo serving our Santa Monica mountain communities in Malibu, and you just do so much to keep us safe and prepared. And as this is Preparedness Month and we are looking to keep our community safe, I wanted to have a chat with you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Supervisor.
Thank you. Well, I really appreciate your expertise, your deep commitment to our shared communities. I wanted to get together to have this conversation because we are now, I would say, about 9 months after the Palisades fire. It's hard to believe it's already been that long, but I want to start by asking how you're both doing.
I don't know if we've even hit the pause button to figure that one out yet.
I don't think we've let down.
I don't.
It's a lot of momentum still in the area. So we're still working towards the end state of what we want to have. So there's a lot of time and energy that's being spent in the area.
Yeah. This week, the county's independent after-action report for emergency alerts and evacuations has been released. It's an important part of transparency, accountability, and healing. There are a lot of recommendations that we will be acting on, and one thing the report highlights are lessons learned in the 3rd District and how the relationships you've developed in the Santa Monica Mountains are making a difference. And seeing how each of you and the teams that you represent gave it their all, we know how hard you've been working. So just a reminder to take care of yourselves while I know you're thinking about how you'll take care of others. Since I know you have such a special relationship, how is it that the two of you have come to this place where it feels like you almost read each other's minds in terms of how you prepare a community and how you work together, whether it's on evacuations or educating a community? How did you get to that place in your partnership and working together? Because that doesn't happen everywhere.
I would say from Woolsey Fire. At the initial part of Woolsey, we met at Fire Station 89 in Agora Hills when the fire was still quite a distance from LA County. And we were formulating our plan for what we needed to do for the interest of the residents and the portion that LA County Fire and Sheriff's Department represent. So we were ahead of that. So there was some moments that we had to have the realization that this was going to get to the ocean, and we had to look at timing on this rollout for the fire mission, for the law mission that complements into the evacuations. And so that's where Commander Seetoo and I knew each other, but right there is once we started living that fire is where our relationship was built. And then with the lessons learned from Woolsey, we just kept moving that ball forward for what we do because the story's been told before. So the integration of fire and law, which is the relationship you need to have, and you need to have that working relationship and partnership for the same end state of what we need to do for public safety.
Yeah, and Fire Chief Smith is my wise fire sage. I don't know what else to describe, but law, this is not typically what we do. We don't typically go into fires, right? That is not something that we train in as wildfires. And from the very beginning of meeting Fire Chief Smith, he has taken me under his wing and has allowed me to ask the questions, as a newbie, and really invested in, not just in me, but in my personnel, in the community where I live. And it literally is just so heartfelt coming from him. And I couldn't ask for a better partner, and I'm so blessed.
Yeah, it seems like trust is really there, and when you don't have trust, especially when it comes to these safety issues, that's such a big thing. So how did you develop that trust?
That partnership, so we, in the community, the Santa Monica Mountains, there's a lot of community events, and we partner up, so we have a unified message. Our public outreach, our tents are together, our easy ups are together, so we have that unified approach. Commander Seetoo's deputies go into our fire stations, they do their reports, they fill up with fuel. We share little resources from things, and so it's just, it's us. And then we bring in our other partners too, with like the big county family with Public Works, and so that integration that we have is just builds and fosters those relationships.
Yeah.
So.
And how about community partnerships? I know the community members really play a key role too.
They do. I'll let you talk to that one.
I always say that government can't do this alone. And it's really when it's a whole of community approach, that's really where the magic happens. And, you know, I look at, you know, Woolsey Fire was my third day, so I really didn't
Oh my gosh,
know-
your third day?
My third day.
Wow.
Was Woolsey Fire. I always say my first day, my boss had a stroke, so I became acting captain. Second day was borderline shooting. Third day was Woolsey Fire.
Oh my goodness.
So, you know, and that's where I'm grateful for my partner really taking me under his wing and teaching me. But when I came back as captain, our biggest thought was, how do we work together with the community, standing shoulder to shoulder together with our other partner, OEM Director Kevin McGowan? How do we do this together? And I will say that has been one of the greatest joys of my career, is partnering with Chief Drew Smith and Kevin McGowan, and then the community, and really bringing the community along on the ride with us, right? Because it's not just our ideas. We wanted to hear from the community. And I will say, when you're in an environment that thrives with ideas, as my partner says, the good idea fairy, but really thrives with these ideas. We came up, I was thinking about it today, how many ideas did we come up with in the last 3 years from, you know, I think about the Real-Time Watch Center, the Connex boxes, the drones.
And this is since Woolsey?
No, this is just the last 3 years we've been
Okay.
together.
Okay.
Our
brigade.
community
Community
brigade, expanding the arson watch, the law branch. I mean, there's just so many things that I think about. And the reason why it was a success is because none of us thought we were the smartest people in the room. We were all looking at each other and really saying, how do we work with the community to make this better? And I think that is the magic sauce.
Yeah, I think community being a part of it and having that buy-in really makes a difference. And I think they also hear it that way too. Like, I know we're all sort of guilty of it. We go to an event, somebody asks the same question 5 times, but when you finally ask it, it's the time you hear it. And so I think, you know, really having that community participation makes a difference and allows it to sink in, and they have ownership of it then too. It's not just you telling them what to do, it's everybody taking responsibility for safety. So when I came in, I had heard a lot about what had happened in the communities with Woolsey, and the pain that people felt, the trauma, and what the progress had been or not been since Woolsey. And so yeah, I hear you referencing it a lot as sort of a key component to your partnership. So what has happened specifically since Woolsey? What's different in how we respond to fires now? What was different for the Palisades fire, for example? And what lessons learned are we implementing already?
Well, I'd say what's different is the integration with the workshops that we do. Rather than just going and doing a class, we do workshops. So we bring, for the Santa Monica Mountains, our mutual aid partners, which is Ventura County Fire, Ventura County Sheriff's, LA City Fire, LAPD. We bring in the state parks, and we bring everybody in. And then Commander Seetoo and I say, hey, this is the plan. This is how this is going to go. So, and then with that, everybody has a discipline, and we put them in a functional breakout group to understand what that discipline is. If they're in an ops role, if they're in a plans role, if they're the law partners, that all the law from all the agencies go together, they come up and we get takeaways. And so when we have to implement the plan, they know it because we've rehearsed it and we're exercising it, and we're doing that in areas that we know that we have vulnerability. So we don't do these fictitious fires in some area. We do it, say, hey, this is our vulnerability in this area, so this is what we need to practice to. And that's what significantly helped us in the area leading towards what we needed to do for the Palisades fire that started in Los Angeles City's jurisdiction, us as an assisting agency, but knew that we were going to inherit this fire because the weather variables that we knew on a particularly dangerous situation day are an extreme of all extreme red flags, which constitute a PDS, that we knew that we were going to have impact to Los Angeles County. So we had the playbook in play and our resources were there.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I look at Woolsey Fire and some of the things that came about during Woolsey Fire, and really sitting down with Kevin McGowan and Fire Chief Smith and what can we do better as a team. And I don't know if it was you or Kevin that came up with fire days for our fire risk schools. I mean, that was absolutely brilliant, where we partnered with the school districts at these different schools that were in high fire danger areas, and said, hey, really consider doing a fire day. If the East Coast can do snow days, we West Coasters can do fire days. And I just remember, and I don't know if you remember this, we were at, it was right when the Palisades fire started, and we were at Sunset and PCH together. And I mean, it was gridlock. It was gridlock, and we're seeing people walk out of their cars. And at some point I turned to you and I said, partner, what if we didn't close those schools? And it was just this chill that I had. And I'm just like, I will tell you that I really do believe that there would have been lives lost hadn't Kevin and you come up with that plan. And so I look at where we're at Woolsey Fire, and then where we're at now from the fire brigade. You know, remember during the Woolsey Fire?
And did TSEP exist before Woolsey?
TSEP did.
Yes,
Okay,
sure
yeah.
did.
So I know our Topanga Canyon folks were volunteering and educating the community. I mean, there's so many components that are so unique to this area. And I think it's very clear the lessons learned from Woolsey, even just people experiencing what that felt like, has caused them to now be more aware. And now, even for those who weren't before, it feels like emergency preparedness is a way of life for everybody now. It's just something that you take in stride. It's not sort of like you put your go bag in your closet and forget about it. It's something they're always thinking about. Are there things that you saw after Woolsey that we still haven't implemented yet that you want to see happen? Or even lessons learned from Palisades that we could be doing better?
I feel what we need to really look at is, and you've heard me talk this, is how are we going to manage our lands for the fire component, but also the environmental component. It's a fine balance.
Sure.
But we really have to have a realization of what it's going to take to accomplish that. And it's going to be challenging, not for some, not by all, but it's all going to have to be looked at, because with the last 100 years, the story is going to get told over and over. And at what point do we need to make some decisions on how we're going to do those land management practices to be as environmentally conscious as we can?
Yeah.
Because we know we live in this fire regime that is very destructive in the fall, or when the Santa Ana winds blow. So we really have to be sensitive to really look at the home hardening aspects for the defensible space, but also the land management besides working from the home out. But it also complements into Ready, Set, Go for people taking it serious and understanding.
Tell me about Ready, Set, Go.
Ready, Set, Go it's actionable. So having a family plan in place that you understand the notifications, you're signed up to get all the alert and warnings, and there's with the internet, let's say, and your smartphone, there's really no reason that you don't get notified or have the awareness that we're going to have a red flag. So being prepared ahead of the event. And then if there's an evacuation component, which can be an order, which can be a warning or shelter in place, is you have to implement what that plan is. So if it's that the fire is going to impact an area quicker than we can evacuate, it's going to have to be a shelter place. So that ready component also is your defensible space, your home hardening. And so if it's an evacuation order based upon time, we want to evacuate a community. And with that being said, the go means that an order's been issued and you go. So you have to have and exercise this family plan of what you're going to do when Mother Nature gets angry. You have to. It's because ultimately, it's about life safety, and
That's
we
right.
want people to live.
Absolutely.
And your window to survive narrows when you don't take time seriously on the order is set and you need to leave. And you can't go to the go part unless you've done the ready set part.
Yep, that's right.
It needs to be taken serious.
Well, one of the things that I hear in the community, you know, we put out alerts on social media, we send text messages. I know our partners in the press help to educate the community, but when the power's out and it's nighttime and your cell phone isn't working, you know, how are people getting the information? How do we make sure that they're informed?
So with the alert and warnings, there's a lot of different methods we do. We have a lot of folks that have their AM radios on batteries that they can listen to the radio. I've talked to a lot of residents that leave the radio on.
Shout out to KBUU
Yeah,
in Malibu. We know they keep people informed.
But also partnered with the National Weather Service and NOAA, the weather radio that sends an alert if there is something to be said. So whether it's a red flag, PDS, or an evacuation component, that partnering with the National Weather Service, the Los Angeles office, which is our forecasting office, they can use the NOAA weather radio to send those alerts and warnings. And so it's battery operated as well. It stays in your plugged in, but it also has battery backup. So I know I have one at my house, Jen has one at her house, and so, and all of we gave out over 5,000 of these in the Santa Monica Mountains for these robust campaigns about these alert and warnings.
Yeah, we give them out at our events too, and we know it's so important for people to stay connected, and not everybody thinks to have one of those in their house, but I think now that everybody's thinking about how do I overcome that communication gap, you know, that's one way that we can help people just automatically know where to go to get constant, reliable information. Because I think, you know, for those of us who automatically go to our cell phones and social media, some of that is helpful and some of it isn't. And so making sure that we're listening here is a really good tool.
One other component besides the fire days with the schools, is we've had a lot of people that are actually leaving the area during red flags as they're going elsewhere. And so what are trying to normalize this practice as, if you are secure in your home and you have the ability to leave the area because you're in a very high fire danger severity zone, they go somewhere. And then they notify Lost Hills Sheriff Station, just like they do when they go away for the holidays, say, hey, I'm at this address, we're going to be leaving town for 3 days. And the sheriffs do active patrolling at all these houses. And then one thing also with what used to be Zone Haven, now Genesis, when they're in Palm Springs or wherever they're at, they can look that are unaffected by a PDS or PSPS or anything. They can look at any of their zone if there's any activity and catch that. Plus other apps such as Watch Duty that they can look at for any of that intelligence when they're away. But a lot of people are exercising, leaving the area with their kids.
And Genesis is an app that people download, or
Genesis
is it a
Connect.
website? Can you?
Yes and yes.
Okay, so that's the
And it's all
platform that you
available on
use.
the County of Los Angeles platform.
There you go.
It's on all of us on how to get to that, to
Yeah.
register your address in LA County for what zone you're in. And we do robust campaigns for that in the Santa Monica Mountains.
Yeah,
Know your zone.
when we got that PDS, the particularly dangerous situation alert, or you get the public safety power shutoffs, the PSPS, know that your electricity is going to go out to, so that way the power lines aren't working during a dangerous situation. Some people will be able to see them on their phones, but when they don't have their devices, are they able to hear that on these devices too?
They are, if NOAA pushes out the alert based
Okay.
upon stuff. So yes,
Oh,
that's
that's
the way
great.
it's intended to work. Yes.
That's great. Now, I know we do a lot of work together on community education, and that's very important. But one of the things that comes through in our recent after action report is community fatigue. Also, it's as you've been saying, you want to stay on alert to keep community safe, but you feel that exhaustion. You feel, how tired you get just being focused and on high alert all the time. So how do we work through that? How do we balance making sure our communities are educated, they know how to be ready, set, go, but that they also are continuing to pay attention so we haven't lost them or missed the opportunity to keep them informed?
I think it's with really engaging those communities. I know before, like red flags, we'll go on KBOO and do a public safety message to the community so they hear something new for the first time. We also reach out to the HOAs. We have a great relationship with all of our HOAs that really came in handy during the Palisades fire. And hey, this is something different. I need the community to listen. And it's that constant engagement. But I think after the Woolsey fire, then we had we had Franklin, we had Owen, we had Broad fire, and then the Palisades fire. I think that community fatigue is probably lessening when it comes to when we say ready, set, go, we really do mean ready, set, go. When we say evacuate and we give you the order, there is a reason why.
Yeah.
And so we want the community to evacuate.
That's good to hear. I know when the Kenneth fire broke out, I got the alert from Chief O'Brien that we had to get moving. And so I called the elected officials in the respective cities saying, I just got the call. If this takes a turn, we're going to be in bad shape. So I just want to let you know. And so they were able to push out to their networks and let their cities know. It turned out that Kenneth didn't become the terrible thing that it could have been, thanks to your great work. But so I sort of felt bad afterwards, and I was like, I'm sorry I called you. It ended up, I don't want to, sort of be the false alarm. And they said, oh no, thank you for calling us, because it allowed us to let people know and, allowed us to use our systems to communicate with people. And the fact that people knew that the fire department was watching out for us, the sheriff's department, that our own supervisor was willing to call, made a difference. And so I think that personal connection also is how we overcome that, letting people know we're not doing this for some sort of performative, dramatic reason. It's, it's because we want to keep you safe.
And with that fatigue, we don't want to just keep talking and then it becomes white noise. We want to send a message, a unified message to inform. So I have a community service liaison, Megan Courier, who...
She's fabulous.
She is fabulous. It consistently works with Commander Seetoo's staff to send out that unified messaging, and your office, of course. And so all of our cities in the are connected well ahead of a fire starting. We were 3 days ahead of Palisades on what the potential was for a catastrophic fire. And so, and that's when we get into the radio that people need to take it serious. So when we're saying this, we're not crying wolf, that there is a reason.
Yeah. Well, we've covered a lot, but I want to make sure if there's anything that we didn't share with the community to keep them preparedness minded as we're getting geared up for that season. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with people and make sure that they know to keep themselves and their families safe?
Only thing I would say is please get involved. If that just means making sure you have defensible space at your home, that you have a family plan, that you have food and medicine and things that you need to carry you through that disaster. If that's what that means for your family, at the minimum, do that. Help us so we can help you and protect our communities.
Agreed. And just with that, we understand that when we have to do evacuations, we understand that fatigue, we understand that inconvenience, and we don't take those evacuation orders lightly. We understand that it is going to have that strain on people's businesses, family dynamics. We understand that. But at the end of the day, we want the life safety mission is a priority for all of us. And so please plan ahead, as Commander Seetoo was saying. And also, don't be afraid to stop by your local fire station if you have questions. Reach out to your deputy sheriffs at Lost Hills or any of your sheriff's department if you have any questions regarding any of the public safety components, because we're going to have a unified message. And thank you, Supervisor, for the
Yes,
support you give
thank
our
you.
agencies.
Absolutely. Thank you both for taking the time to have this conversation. And for everyone who's watching, we really invite you to come out to our 3rd District events. We have emergency preparedness events, 3 of them coming up, and you can learn more about those events and everything else that we got going on in our office at lindsayhorvath.lacounty.gov. Please join us.